The storm had come out of nowhere, turning the Arizona sky black by mid-afternoon. Thomas Hale pulled his coat tighter as he rode toward his ranch, dust and rain mixing into heavy mud. He was used to hard weather and harder days, but something in the wind carried more than thunder. It carried trouble. When he reached his cabin, he saw 3 figures standing near the porch. They were women, soaked to the bone, their dresses torn and faces streaked with dirt and rain. They stood close together, shivering, clearly afraid to step closer without permission. Thomas kept his hands visible and dismounted slowly. "You lost?" he asked, keeping his voice calm. One of the women stepped forward. She was the oldest, her eyes steady despite exhaustion. "We are sisters," she said. "Our camp was burned. We have nowhere to go." Another sister spoke, her voice breaking. "We will work, we will cook, we will serve. Just let us stay the night. The storm will kill us if we go back out." Thomas studied them. He had seen fear before, but also lies. What he saw now was desperation, not deception. He nodded once. "Come inside. Dry off first. Then we talk." They entered his small cabin, steam rising from their wet clothes as the fire crackled. Thomas handed them blankets and set a pot of water to boil. No one spoke for a long moment. Only the sound of rain on the roof filled the space. The youngest sister couldn't stop shaking. Thomas poured her a cup of hot water with a little coffee mixed in. "Slow sips," he said. She looked at him with surprise, then gratitude, and obeyed. The oldest sister introduced herself as Elena. The others were Mira and Sani. Their story came out in pieces. A rival group had raided their small camp. Their brothers had scattered. Their parents were gone. They had walked for 2 days with little food and no shelter. "We are not asking for charity forever," Elena said quietly. "Just time. We can earn our keep." Thomas leaned back in his chair. He had lived alone since his wife died. The ranch was too quiet most days. Still, he knew what people would say if he took in 3 Apache women. The frontier judged quickly and forgave slowly. "You can stay," he said at last. "For now. We'll see how it goes." Relief crossed their faces so fast it almost hurt to watch. The first night, they slept on bedrolls near the fire. Thomas stayed on the porch with his rifle across his knees. Not because he feared them, but because the world outside was not kind to people without protection. In the morning, he woke to the smell of food. Mira had found beans and cornmeal. Sani was sweeping the floor. Elena was carrying water from the well, moving carefully, her shoulders sore but her posture proud. "You didn't have to start already," Thomas said. "We wanted to," Elena replied. "Work keeps the fear quiet." Days turned into a pattern. The sisters helped with cooking, cleaning, mending clothes, and tending a small garden Thomas had neglected. In return, they never asked for more, they never space to breathe. Neighbors noticed. Some rode by slowly. Some asked questions Thomas didn't answer. One man laughed and said, "Looks like you found yourself some free help." Thomas's jaw tightened. "Looks like I found people who survived something you didn't." At night, the sisters sometimes spoke softly by the fire. They talked about their mother who sang while grinding corn, their father who taught them to track and to listen to the wind, the way life had once felt steady. Thomas listened without interrupting. One evening, Sani asked, "Why do you help us?" Thomas stared into the fire. "Because once, when my wife died, someone helped me when I didn't deserve it. I don't forget things like that." The ranch slowly felt less empty. Laughter returned, small at first, then easier. The sisters repaired fences, helped with the animals, and even fixed parts of the cabin Thomas had ignored for years. They didn't act like servants, they acted like people rebuilding. Trouble came anyway. A group of riders stopped by one afternoon. Their leader looked at the sisters and smirked. "You keeping trophies now, Hale?" Thomas stepped forward. "They're under my roof, that's all you need to know." The man laughed. "Frontier law says nothing about that." "Frontier law also says you're still standing on my land," Thomas replied calmly. The riders left, but the message was clear. That night, Elena said, "We bring you danger." "You didn't create it," Thomas answered. "Men like that did." Mira clenched her fists. "We don't want to be a burden." "You're not," Thomas said firmly. "You're family for as long as you're here." The word surprised all of them. Winter came early. Snow dusted the hills. The sisters sewed thicker blankets. Thomas fixed the roof. They survived storms together, sharing stories, food, and long quiet evenings. One morning, a wounded Apache man arrived near the fence. He was weak but alive. The sisters ran to him. It was their cousin. He brought news. Some of their people were alive, hiding farther south. The sisters faced Thomas with mixed emotions, hope and fear together. "We may need to leave," Elena said softly. Thomas nodded. "If that's what you choose. But we don't forget what you did," Sanny added. They stayed a few more weeks, helping prepare the ranch for winter as if they would never leave. The bond was real now, not built on fear or need, but on shared work and respect. When the time came, Thomas saddled 3 horses. Elena held his hands. "You did not treat us as servants, you treated us as human." Thomas swallowed hard. "That's the only way I know how." They rode away slowly, turning back more than once. The ranch was quiet again, but it was not empty anymore. Thomas knew that kindness had a way of coming back, even on the hardest frontier. And somewhere on the trail, 3 sisters carried not just supplies and hope, but proof.